Hello, and welcome to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a topic that shapes headlines and impacts economies worldwide: tariffs. In our interconnected global economy, understanding how tariffs affect international trade and domestic production is vital. It's complex, but thankfully, economic models give us powerful tools to see beyond simple assumptions and understand the real-world consequences. So what exactly is a tariff? Simply put, it's a tax imposed on goods imported into a country. When tariffs are applied, they immediately make those imported products more expensive for consumers and businesses within the country. But the effects don't stop there. They spread throughout the economy. Economic models, especially sophisticated ones like computable general equilibrium or CGE models, help us track these ripple effects. These models map out the complex links between different industries and markets, showing how a change in one area impacts others. One of the most analyzed impacts is on international trade. Unsurprisingly, tariffs usually lead to fewer imports of the targeted goods because they've become more costly. But does this just shift trade elsewhere? Economic models suggest it's often more complicated. The overall volume of global trade can actually shrink. A very common reaction to tariffs is retaliation. Other countries impose their own tariffs on goods from the country that started it. This further dampens global commerce and can hurt the exports of the initial country. Models show that while trade might reroute to avoid tariffs, it often happens at a higher cost or lower efficiency, leading to a net loss for the global economy. What about manufacturing within the country imposing the tariffs? The picture here is quite mixed, according to economic models. Domestic companies that compete directly with the now taxed imports might get a boost. They might see increased sales and even hire more workers, at least in the short term. However, this protection often comes with significant downsides. Many other domestic manufacturers depend on imported parts and materials. Tariffs on these essential inputs raise their production costs, making them less competitive, both at home and abroad. Plus, if other countries retaliate with their own tariffs, manufacturers who export their goods can find their markets shrinking rapidly. So, while a specific sector might benefit temporarily, models often indicate that the broader manufacturing industry, especially those tied into global supply chains, can suffer from higher costs and lost export opportunities. Tariffs also throw a wrench into global supply chains. They create uncertainty and add costs, forcing businesses to rethink where they source materials and where they produce goods. Economic models try to quantify the friction and expense involved in finding new suppliers, moving factories, or even redesigning products to avoid tariffs. These changes are rarely smooth or cheap, and the disruptions can harm efficiency and production long after the tariffs are first put in place. So what's the bottom line according to most economic models? While specific domestic producers might gain from tariff protection, the overall economic impact tends to be negative. Consumers usually end up paying higher prices and having fewer choices. Higher input costs hurt industries downstream, and retaliation harms exporters. Many comprehensive models conclude that imposing widespread tariffs often reduces the overall economic output, or GDP, for the country imposing them and for the global economy as a whole. These analyses consistently highlight just how interconnected our modern economy is and underscore the significant economic trade-offs and often high costs associated with using tariffs as a policy tool. That's a brief look at how economic models help us understand the complex web of effects caused by tariffs. They provide crucial insights into the dynamics of international trade, domestic production, and overall economic well-being in the face of protectionist policies. Thanks for tuning in.